Alright, going to be doing some Patreon requests today, and starting off, we've got one from John McKinney, who asked me to do a Tarzan Jurassic Park crossover. But as always, before we get started, if you guys would like to be part of the Patreon requests, just hit the link in the description box below. Hit the third tier, that'll allow you access to do so. And other than that, let's get started. So Tarzan Jurassic Park. This one took a little bit of a mental exercise, so you'll have to forgive me. Anyway, but let's get started. So basically, the story begins with Tarzan, and if you're wondering, this is Disney's Tarzan. I should have mentioned that. But basically, Tarzan's in his, Tarzan and Jane are in their treehouse home, and they're just kind of enjoying a nice, relaxing day when Jane's father, Professor Porter, comes in with a discovery, or rather, someone traded this object to him at the local trading post, and they're wondering what it is, and it's called the Eye of the Dragon, which is basically some kind of mystical object that is said to peer through certain events in time. So, of course, Jane's like, well, that's stupid, but I wouldn't... But then she's like, I'd call it stupid if I didn't know we ran into crazy stuff like Opar and everything else. Tarzan is, observing it, and then it just starts glowing, and Tarzan is suddenly, engulfed in white light, and when he wakes up, he finds himself in, an open field, and he, just gets up, he, looks around, and he's like... This is not... He, immediately knows this is not Africa. I am not in Africa. I am somewhere far from home. And this is, yeah, even the air feels different. He can just feel everything. And that's when he hears, "Hey, you, naked guy, who the hell are you?" And he turns around, and it's two guys, and they're dressed in uniforms. So, yeah, he got flung to the far future of 1993. Tarzan is now in 1993, and he is on Isla Nublar. The Eye of the Dragon literally flung him through a random point in time, and now he is on Isla Nublar. And this is months before the park is officially taking in guests. They're still transporting dinosaurs. So Tarzan is basically thrown into this situation. He immediately is he's confused, but he does try to talk to the men, and he's like, wait a minute, I don't understand what's going on. They're just this guy's an intruder, bring him into security. So Tarzan fights them and flees, and that's when he runs into one of the pens, and it's a fucking Stegosaurus right there. And he's like, am I back on Pellucidar? Am I in Pellucidar? Did I end up here? What the hell is going on? So obviously the security guards, after failing to capture Tarzan, and Tarzan, fleeing from the Stegosaurus and now deep in the jungles of Isla Nublar, the security guards go to Hammond, and they're like, so some guy has broken into our facility. It's some dude in a loincloth. It's weird. And Hammond's like, you think he was sent by Biosyn or something? And they're like, no, maybe he's crazy, maybe it's something else, but he's an intruder, and he's maybe in harm to the assets or the staff. So they're like, we'll go get him and bring him in for questioning. And that's when Hammond sends Muldoon to go track him down. So meanwhile, back with Tarzan, he has gone through the jungles, and he's like, yeah, not Africa, I am somewhere else, and maybe I'm in another time. I've dealt with this before. This is not good. So, during that, he actually encounters... he actually ends up in the Rex pen. And the T-Rex, of course, sees him and is just like, food! So Tarzan battles the T-Rex. He's fighting with it, and he's like, this doesn't look like the T-Rex I met in Pellucidar. It's something's different about it. So he manages to escape, but then runs into Muldoon, and he's like, I know a hunter when I see one, and sure enough, Muldoon, is aiming his rifle. It's Trank, so he's like, this guy's, really fast, but, so we need to trank him. So they try to trank Tarzan. He dodges and actually is like, I know hunters when I see them, and I've killed a few. And Muldoon's like, whoever you are, sir, you've never met a hunter like me. So Tarzan and Muldoon throw down. They get into a fight, and Muldoon does keep his, he does keep pace with Tarzan, but he's like, this guy is fast. This guy is clearly trained. Special forces, maybe? I don't know, but he moves like an actual ape. Pity him, I've hunted a few. So Muldoon and him continue to fight, but during the scrap, they alert the Rex again, so the two have to be like, oh shit, truce. So they get away, and Tarzan and Muldoon, once they get away from the Rex pen, Muldoon is like, alright, who the hell are you? And he's like, my name is Tarzan, I'm Tarzan, and he's like, okay, Tarzan, Lord of the Apes, yeah, no, you're not. And they're like, I'm not, but I am Tarzan. And he's like, no, you're a guy, clearly, you're some crazy guy on meth. Tarzan's a book character. And they're like, Tarzan's like, no, Tarzan is me, I'm Tarzan. And Muldoon's like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ, it's some crazy guy. So Tarzan willingly this time goes into questioning, and is taken by Muldoon into his Jeep, and Muldoon plans to transport him back to the facilities for further questioning, and Tarzan's trying to convince him, no, I am Tarzan. But as they're driving through, they hear one of the pen's power system failed, and it was the Raptors. Yeah, the Raptors power pen, the new pen, the big one managed to short circuit the system. This is, again, they're updating the system, so yeah, the big one has gotten out, and Muldoon is like, oh shit, I gotta go grab them. And Tarzan's like, I can help you. And he's like, no, you're not. And he's like, you've seen me fight. Have you seen me hunt? So Muldoon frees Tarzan, and the two of them team up to capture the Raptors, because Muldoon's like, if those things are the perfect killing machine, if they will kill people, and God help us if they find a way off the island. So Tarzan assists in helping to capture Muldoon, but in his head he's like, how do I get home? That thing sent me through time. I don't know how. And he's like, hey, in 1993, do you guys know how to do time travel yet? And he's like, what? He's like, nothing. I'm fucked. So Tarzan and Muldoon do manage to track down the Raptors, and Tarzan's like, Muldoon's like, do you know how to use a gun, ape man? And he's like, no, I know how to use my fists. So Tarzan proceeds to fight with the Raptors while Muldoon's trying to trank them from afar. He even sees the big one get into a fist fight with Tarzan, leading to him holy shit, he could be the guy. I'm watching this guy fight the 3 Raptors with his bare hands, and I don't know how to I don't know how to really respond to that. I'm impressed. So finally, once the Raptors are taken down, Tarzan is like, all right, I'll answer your questions, but nothing's gonna top that. I am who I say I am, but look, I'm not from my time. I can't go to Jane. He's like, oh yeah, Jane. Are you really Tarzan? He's like, yeah, I am. He's like, I just I got thrown through time, and now I don't know how to get back to my wife. She's probably dead. She's probably, in this timeline, she's probably been long dead, and everyone I know is long dead. So, I'm gonna have to adjust here. And Muldoon is like, well, okay, monkey man, if you you could get a job here. I could have some. It'd be really nice to have some extra hands here. So Tarzan's thinking about it. Then he's suddenly yanked back through time. Turns out Porter and Jane, Professor Archimedes and Porter and Jane managed to figure out how to use the Eye of the Dragon to pull Tarzan back, and he's just like, Jane, I had the amazing adventure. There were people and dinosaurs living together. And she's like, how far were you in the future? The far future of 1993. And they're like, wow, tell us everything. So Tarzan proceeds to tell him everything, even telling Muldoon mentioned that he was a character from a book. And they're like, nah, that's stupid. But he's like, it does make me think, though. Anyway, so there you go, guys. That is pretty much the Tarzan Jurassic Park crossover. I want to thank John McKinney for this Patreon request and continued patronage. And like I said, if you'd like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below. Head on over to my in the description box below. Head on over to my Patreon. Hit the 3rd tier. That'll allow you access to do so. But other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.